Over the past 25 years of LEGO Star Wars, we have gotten many awesome LEGO Star Wars sets, as well as a lot of not so awesome ones. I think that honestly LEGO fans can be very split on a lot of sets, but a lot of times it comes down to more than good or bad, but more personal opinion. I think that there are a lot of underrated sets that don't get a lot of love, but also some very overrated sets. So today I'm going to be going over some sets that I think are underrated versus some sets that are overrated. Starting off with an underrated set, we have the 9515 Malevolence. Coming out in 2012 with 1,101 pieces, the set had 6 amazing minifigures, including General Grievous, Count Dooku, a Battle Droid Commander, a Battle Droid, Anakin, and Padme, all in their Clone Wars style, for better or worse. This set is one I own personally, and the build is so clean. The play features and design were so ahead of its time, even though I do think the set is around the time LEGO Star Wars sets started getting really good. I feel like no one talks about this set like ever, even though it's pretty much the only Separatist flagship we've ever gotten somehow. The set makes me realize what a shame it is that we don't get more Separatist sets, especially flagships. In my opinion, I go as far as saying this is even better than the next set on our list, the famous 8039 Venator, which I think is overrated. Now obviously it's not going to measure up to the new UCS Venator, but I think that this set is very disappointing on a lot of levels. First of all, the figure selection is questionable to say the least, with Palpatine, 2 Senate Commandos, a Clone Trooper Gunner, and a Clone Pilot. For $120, I feel like this leaves a lot to be desired in terms of figure selection. I think that the big problem is that Palpatine's a really random addition. I think we could have gotten a Jedi or Clone Officer of some kind instead. I do actually think the Senate Commandos are kind of cool though, but as for the build, I think the proportions are pretty obviously off. It feels kind of fat and bloated. I think that the interior is also made with a really weird focus on Palpatine's off instead of like, I don't know, a bridge of a Venator. Overall, even though the set is obviously a product of its time, I think it's a shame that LEGO didn't remake this for so long, leaving this model so cherished and kind of overrated. Speaking of Clone Wars sets that are overrated, the 75283 AAT from 2020 definitely falls into that category. Whilst the model containing 286 pieces isn't all bad besides some minor inaccuracies like the long barrel and the missing stripe along the middle, the main problem for me comes in the figures. I think that while the AAT driver droids were pretty cool, the Ahsoka and 332nd Trooper are pretty bad. I'd go as far as to say that the 332nd Trooper is one of the worst clones we've ever gotten. Besides my problems with the new style of LEGO clone, I think this figure's helmet, even without the holes, is really inaccurate, with the color and print being just straight up wrong. The Ahsoka isn't much better, but it's at least acceptable, even with the really oversized headpiece and for some people the blue pupils, which I personally don't mind. Overall, I think this is a weird figure combination for this mediocre set, but people still bought a lot of them, and I can't lie, that includes me. I think that even though I didn't love it, a 332nd Trooper is still a 332nd Trooper, and I'll take all the Separatist sets I could get. Speaking of Ahsoka, an underrated set that a lot of people forgot about that has her in it is the 75158 Rebel Combat Frigate. Coming out in August of 2016, the set had 936 pieces and is from Season 2 of Star Wars Rebels, which we didn't get a lot of sets from actually. I think that it's often overshadowed by sets like the Ghost, which is the standout ship, or even the Phantom 2 with the exclusive Thrawn minifigure that so many people wanted. The set only has 5 minifigures, but that includes the exclusive adult Ahsoka, Commander Sato, Agent Kallus, Chopper, and Ezra. I think that this set is underrated not only because of its insane figure selection, but also because we honestly don't get a lot of Rebel fleet sets or Rebel cruisers like this one, but mainly only Starfighters, so this one is a breath of fresh air. Obviously Starfighters are the ones that sell well, but as somebody who owns this set, I'd actually think I'd rather have more of these than those because, honestly, I think we need something new every once in a while. Moving on to a more recent set, originally I had the UCS Jabba sail barge here, but I feel like that set isn't really overrated because pretty much everybody can agree it's just overpriced but a great model. So instead I decided to spice up this take. So for the next set I think is overrated, I'm going to have to put the Jedi Bob Starfighter. Now before y'all go crazy over this, is the set itself good? Yeah. Are the figures cool? Yeah, we get 2 or even 3 exclusive minifigures if you count the Gonk droid, but my main problem comes with the price. A couple of years ago we got the Obi-Wan Starfighter for $30 with 3 figures including our first ever Kaminoan. This was a great deal and one of the only times we've gotten this type of figure lineup in a $30 set. Now the problem is, Jedi Bob Starfighter is a whole $10 more at $40 US, which I think is completely unjustified. Even though there's inflation, I promise you it was not $10 or even $5 more than the last price for a nearly identical type of set. In fact, through an inflation calculator, I found that the set should theoretically only cost $32 for a 2024 release. While the Jedi Bob Starfighter has marginally more pieces, I just don't think a $10 increase is justified at all. However, a set I think that does justify its hefty price is the Justifier. Yes, we've all heard the jokes, the price isn't justified. We've heard that pun a bunch, but I really do think the set is overhated. The fact is, unfortunately, most people who hate on this set don't actually own it. While I understand that $170 is a lot, the set is actually huge. Another $170 set we could compare it to is the Ghost, which released the year after this one. Having owned both of these sets, the Justifier is absolutely massive next to it and much more imposing. And while it has a smaller interior to play with, I think that the Justifier's is much more practical, with a prison for one of the amazing minifigures in the set, Omega. I think LEGO just overrated the interest in a set like this. Even though I think it's great, it probably shouldn't have been done in a smaller scale. Obviously, the figures in a set like the Ghost at $170 are a lot cooler and better. I think this set is still amazing, with a really cool figure selection having Cad Bane, Toto, Hunter, Omega, and Fennec Shand. A Bad Batch set I think is overrated though is the Bad Batch shuttle. This is actually the only other Bad Batch set we've gotten, so I guess it was pretty easy to guess which one I was talking about. I think the community is kind of split on this one, but I personally have never been behind this set. I think that not only is it obviously the wrong color, which is the main problem, but the Bad Batch figs were really disappointing to me too. Even though it gave us 4 or at the time even 5 exclusive minifigures, they were a mixed bag to say the least. Only one of the new figures had a new helmet mold, which was Echo, and it was okay. For Wrecker, they reused the Iron Man mold, which was actually not that horrible of an idea, and I think it turned out alright. My main problems come with Echo and Hunter. First of all, I think that if they weren't going to give Hunter a new helmet mold, they could have at least given him his backpack to stand out from Echo. Echo, on the other hand, is a clone that I think was done really wrong. Not only was he missing his mechanical hand, he also needed a cloth. This results in the two clones looking really similar. I honestly could have said all these helmets needed new molds because at the time I really think they did, but honestly it was the little things that tore the set down for me. As someone who doesn't really like complaining as much as some other people in the LEGO community, I was really disappointed in the set, especially after looking forward to it for so long, so I'm a hater to this day. Finally, I'm going to end on a good note with a set I think was so underrated. This set is the Betrayal on Cloud City. I was really having a hard time finding a UCS set for this list, because I think that they're generally loved and not under or overrated, but this one kind of flew under the radar. When this set was first rumored, it was a big question mark as to what it would look like, and the final product was not what many people expected, giving us our first Master Builder series set. But I think it personally looked amazing. I really like the huge playsets like this and the Death Star that represent so many scenes at once. I think that type of thing looks amazing on display. The figure selection was great, and for $350 and almost 3,000 pieces, I think the set was sold at quite a fair price. Also, the box art was amazing. I really missed this instead of the all black. I'm really devastated that I never got this set, and it's one of my biggest regrets in life. I don't have much else to say honestly, but I just feel like a lot of these underrated sets are amazing and were just forgotten with time. Generally, a lot of these sets on this list are sets that the community is kind of split on. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are there any things you disagree on in this list, or any sets that you think are overrated or underrated? Let me know if you guys want a part 2. Thank you for watching, and God bless.